I'm going to read from the Bible, because I enjoy doing that. I did in my quiet time. So, 1 Samuel, 7th chapter, 3 through 11. It says here that then Samuel said to all the house of Israel, if you are returning to the Lord with all your heart, then put away the foreign gods and the Ashtaroth from among you, and direct your heart to the Lord, and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the hand of the Philistines. So Israel put away the Baals, B-A-A-L-S, and the Ashtaroth, and they served the Lord only. And then Samuel said, gather all Israel at Mizpah, and I will pray to the Lord for you. So they gathered at Mizpah, and drew water, and poured it out before the Lord, and fasted on that day, and said there, we have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the people. My goodness, that upset you. Sinned against the Lord, she dropped her program. Because we don't use the word sin a lot in unity. We have sinned against the Lord, and Samuel judged the people of Israel at Mizpah. Now when the Philistines heard that the people of Israel had gathered at Mizpah, the lords of the Philistines went up against Israel. And when the people of Israel heard of it, they were afraid of the Philistines. And the people of Israel said to Samuel, do not cease to cry to the Lord our God for us, that he may save us from the hand of the Philistines. And so, let me read you what it says about Philistines, because I think it's easier for me trying to remember it all. And what the Philistines are metaphysically are strangers to our natural state, immigrants, forces foreign to spirit. You know those thoughts, don't you? That are foreign to what you know to be true. The lies we tell ourselves. The 5 great cities of the Philistines ruled by lords meant the 5 senses. It almost always is going to come down to sense consciousness. That which does not work is that which is trying to be perpetually satisfied through the 5 senses. And I don't know about you. Yes, I do. We're never satisfied through our senses. We are titillated. We are excited. We are enchanted. Sometimes for moments we are sated. But we're never satisfied. How do I know? Because we're always trying to get more. We're always trying, oh, that was so good, I need more. I liked cigarettes so much, I smoked them all day long. I like cookies so much, I could eat them all day long, and have been known to. The Philistines were opposed to all true spiritual discipline. They worshipped strange gods in the form of animals and resorted to all kinds of sorcery and soothsaying. And metaphysically it says here, when the 5-sense man gives himself up to sense desires and makes no attempt to live in spiritual consciousness, he is ruled by Philistine thoughts. Because remember, Israel metaphysically means peace. It means the coming together. Actually, Jerusalem means peace. But with the Philistine thoughts, this is a suppression of the real man. And if such living is continued, the soul will finally be crowded out of its rightful domain. And that's what they try to portray historically here, what we seek to portray metaphysically. That when we become so overwhelmed with our thoughts about the world, and how the world must change, and how everything outside of me must change, and how I need to be satisfied, the truth of my being is being crowded out. It's just being crowded out of my very being. The more I think that the president needs to change, that the last president should have changed, that the one before that should have changed, the more I think that my parents should have been different, and my grandparents should have been different, the more I think our children should be different, the more I think that you should be different, so that I could be at peace, the more thoughts I have crowding, pushing me out of me. Pushing me out of me. When I was reading about that, we have sinned against the Lord. What it means is we have missed the mark. We keep trying to change the world. At least we keep talking about it, how the world should change. Some of us, I think, are attempting to change the world, and most of us, I think, are talking about it. How somebody else should do it. We're not doing enough inside job. That's why I always keep encouraging everybody to come to metaphysics class, so you can find out about the inside job. The inside. One of the wonderful things that's happening in this spiritual community is all the singing that's going on, all the performance, all the creativity that's happening among so many. That's helping to restore that true nature. That's helping to replenish your creative nature. It's not somebody who wants to really sing, especially if you want to sing because you want to know the joy of the Lord flowing through you. It does not have to be a religious song to do that, but you want to know the joy, the creativity, the passion, that which you are here to do flowing through you. And that's why I would say put down your self-consciousness when you get up to sing, when you get out there to create. When you do that, put down the self-consciousness and take on God-consciousness, because then it doesn't matter if you've made a mistake. Then it doesn't matter if you've missed a note. It doesn't matter if there's a squiggly line in the painting. It doesn't matter if the sculpture isn't quite onto... What was it I said years ago at a retreat that an artist liked? That when people say, I can't draw a straight line, well, you'll find the people who like the crooked lines in their artwork. Because there are people who like the crooked lines. That's why there's not just one style of music. There's not just one style of art. There's not just one movie. There's not just one play, not one musical. There's whole bunches of them, because we let what different things sing to the different creative sparks in us. Last night at open mic, I watched people just getting up and doing what they did, what Linda did. I thought it was wonderful that how composed you stayed through forgetting, because it didn't matter. Nobody cared that you couldn't remember your song. Not like maybe you did, but nobody else cared. Nobody was worried about that last night. David struggled with his voice, but look at the ovation he got. He walked off stage so uncomfortable, but people loved his words. And you got up and did your new song that was so beautiful. And some others that are coming just for open mic are bringing back old songs that I'm so glad to hear somewhere other than an old radio. I'm sorry? White Rabbit. I mean, hysterical that you'd hear that in this space. But, so, since we didn't plan it till next week, Kenneth is working on that. Wait till you hear the choir do White Rabbit.
Save the band again?
I didn't listen to that before.
What they're talking about, give up the Baal, B-A-A-L, and the Ashford and stuff, is give up your what's the word I want? Fixation, I think that's a good word, on the formed. Give up our fixation on the formed and what we think it means, and become open once again to the invisible. Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, said that greater is that which is in the invisible realm than that which is in the visible. Well, my friend Reverend Greg Netler, he put together the 3 steps to overcoming the Philistines. The first step requires that we turn away from the false gods of materiality and the senses. Does that make sense to you guys? Now, are you clear that turning to guilt because there had been a worship of the false gods and the senses is not turning away from the false gods? It's just creating another false god. It's not bad that we have missed the mark. It truly is not. And so there needs to be no concern. Oh no, I missed the mark. I sinned. I did against the God, and if God's not mad at us, God couldn't care less. It's I care more. And so, to turn away from my guilt, my shame, to turn away from my love, and both my love and my fear of the money, to turn away from my love and my fear of people, to turn away from my love and my fear. When I say love, what I'm talking about is my obsession with the love, not the love itself, but to turn away from what I think it ought to be. It took David and me many years to really put aside what we thought relationship was. Because we had each come to our relationship with an old relationship or two bogging us down, telling us what relationship is. And we had to find out that for us, that's not what relationship is. We'll define it, and it took years to get to that comfort level that we felt safe enough to put aside the old stuff and say, oh, maybe this is what relationship is now for us, that works for us. So we must give up the use of spiritual power in material ways, or end up in even greater darkness or ignorance. Trying to use my prayers to manipulate the earth. It's not what it's about. It'd be like us getting up here and using all our affirmations so that we can sell more tickets to dream bigger. It would just leave us in the darkness. And suddenly we said, we prayed, we affirmed, we did everything we're supposed to. How come we're not selling more tickets already? Well, because we keep thinking we're not selling enough tickets. As soon as we have the thought that there's a lot of full seats, then we go on about our business. Just go on about our business. Because then new ideas have come. Last week, Marie and Bob had a meeting and things opened up. Once they got clear on certain things, they stopped talking about what's missing. And we started looking at, a new idea here. And what about this? Oh, and what about this? And David had the thought yesterday, maybe I'll sing the song. And so, I use Dream Bigger because that's our project right now. We're not less than if we don't do the original plan. We were already more than. We couldn't have had the idea if we weren't more than. You can't have the stuff that you already have if that power weren't in you. And I so invite you to look at that and realize how powerful you are. I have to take time to realize how powerful I am, because some days I'm going to say, I haven't done this, I haven't done this, I haven't done this. I must not be very powerful. But the truth is, I've done this, this, and this. I got out of bed this morning, I still had a body, and I had a toothbrush and toothpaste, and these are all things I like. My body, toothbrush, toothpaste, water. I enjoyed, and I manifested all of those today. Every one of those. And then I manifested a pulpit. The choir manifested a pulpit today. Did you know that? Did you pay attention, choir? Did you notice you manifest? It didn't just happen. This pulpit didn't just happen. It happened because somebody came here and said, I'm going to step up on the pulpit today. I have a song to sing. And the funny part is, we don't even pay attention. We don't realize, I did this. It's not that Kenneth did this. He built it. But if nobody used it, would it make a bit of difference? When I step up here, it's mine. When you step up here, it's yours. When you think about it, it's yours. Do you understand that? When you think about anything in the world, it's yours. And here's how I know. Because when you think about anything in the world, you are creating it in the image and likeness of your belief. And therefore you experience it exactly as you see it. Do you get that? Can you? Because it's hard to take in, because we take so much for granted. We get on the highway and we're not thinking, the 95 better be there when I get there. And I hope it's not crowded, and if it is, I can't believe these people did this. But see, that's the experience I just gave myself of a crowded highway. Or I could say, okay, this is where I am, I'm a monk, this is what I have demonstrated. Now, do I tell myself it's good, or do I tell myself it's bad? I've had mixed emotions this week. There's been a lot of traffic this week. Second step requires us to keep our attention focused on spiritual truth through the process of denial and affirmation. It's the power of word that Betsy was talking about earlier. And then we studied Tuesday night, denials and affirmations. To deny what is not real, to affirm what is. Deny softly, affirm boldly. Do not deny boldly, because you just give them what you don't want, more power. Now, Myrtle Fillmore affirmed, I am a child of God, therefore I do not inherit sickness. She did the affirmation first and the denial second. And that is the first process of denial and affirmation, or affirmation denial, that we know of in Unity, and that began her healing of tuberculosis, where she was given 3 months to live. I am a child of God. Therefore, I do not inherit sickness. And then she began to affirm every day, health and well-being flowing through her. But the way that she really did that, and that I'm assuming was the most effective, because remember, we have to pray believing, was she began to affirm her connection with Source. Affirm her connection with Source. The oneness. That's why I like the Christ in me is awake now. Because what I'm talking about is the highest consciousness in me is awake now. And within the highest consciousness, all that is possible to know can be known. And it may not be known in words, but it will be known in demonstration. Do you understand what I'm talking about here? See, this is part of what they're talking. We must let go and stop worshiping the false god called the intellect. The intellect will not get you healthy. The intellect will not get you wealthy. The intellect will not enable you to live in harmony. Living in spirit does that. It is the invisible presence that we must connect to in order to experience all that we say we want to experience. The intellect is not going to figure that out. I promise you, and I invite you to remove from your vocabulary, I have to figure out. You won't figure it out. You'll just reaffirm the absence of it. I promise you, that is how it works. You will never figure anything out. It is already figured out. Everything you want is already figured out. Now, take time to be. I've asked this before. Do you offer as much time to the silence each day as you do to worry?
No.
Yeah. How is it we have managed to squeeze so much time for worry into our schedule? You know, I've got a few extra minutes here. I think I'll worry. Oh my goodness! I don't have to be at lunch till noon. Okay, I got 25 minutes to complain. I'm going to make a phone call and criticize. But maybe we give a minute or two to prayer, to meditation. Some of us are up to 20 minutes, half an hour. All I ask of everybody, give 5 minutes. 5 minutes to the silence. If you want to give more, that's fine. But if you're not in the habit, 5 minutes. As early in the day as possible. Because number 3, the last step requires us to compare our actions to the actions of God. We must maintain a right relationship with the action of principle. No adverse condition, I love this is a promise here. No adverse condition can stand because there cannot be effective opposition to God. Adversity seen in the outer world is not in God. Whenever we see any situation in God under principle, its aspects are changed. Victory over outer conditions comes through the realization of oneness with God. Whenever adversity appears, it's time to not cease to cry to the Lord. Meaning, don't cease to turn it over. Wherever I am, God is and all is well, so I am willing to see. Imagine if you, I don't mean just you, I mean you and me, if we became willing at all times to see. To see. I mean, do you assume you are loved by God? Is that a general assumption that you are loved by God? If you are, then it means you're loved on the easy days and the hard days. And so therefore, if I am loved, and I know that I am loved, I have time to excuse myself 1 second while I go over here and get quiet. In my early days of healing, I did that because I wanted to. I would excuse myself and go find a restroom. And I would lock the door and I would pray. I would turn my will and my life over to the care of God. I would turn my will and my life over to the care of God around this situation. I would declare for myself, I know that there is something more to this than my upset. And so I am willing to surrender any and all upset I have around this situation. And I would go back in and I would see things differently. Every single time. I'm not telling you I would see it gleefully, but at least I didn't hate it. At least I didn't think, oh, this awful thing is happening, and this awful person is making it happen. I would see it differently. If we all took the time to pray in traffic, in your driving time, do you allow more time for prayer or the criticism of other drivers? Oddly enough, no one raised their hand. But I said,
Actually, that is my prayer time when
I love that.
Because I don't pay attention to the driver.
I love that. Everyone, pay attention to Linda.
That's my strong point.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, sir.
I pay attention to keeping car lengths in front of me and letting people merging in front, etc.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wave them through, watch them smile.
Watch the one behind me. Same thing. That's the nice part.
Beautiful. Beautiful. But you understand no other driver has control of what you think while you're driving? No other driver has the say-so of what you ought to be thinking. Oh, it's maddening. It's maddening when there's nobody to blame. I remember my brother getting a new garage door that had no windows, and when he backed into the garage door one morning, because he forgot it wasn't open, and he had no one to blame. It was nobody else's fault, and he was in pain over it. He was just in pain because I can't blame our mother. I can't blame my wife. I can't, And I was like, to diffuse every situation with love. And so, do not, or as I say, pray without ceasing. As we sang, let go of grievances. You can only do that if you turn it over somewhere, though. It's not about, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to forgive them. That's not doing that. That's called wearing your teeth out. Love. Love, love, love. Overcome the Philistines. Overcome the thoughts that are foreign to your natural self. Overcome the thoughts that are foreign and egregious to your natural self. Overcome the thoughts that just don't make any sense if you believed you were loved by God. Does that make sense? If I believed I were loved by God, what would I be thinking right now? If I believed I were loved by the universe, what would I be thinking right now? If I believed I were loved by myself, what would I be thinking right now? And so, we've made the trip up the steps, once again, to change our thought about stuff, to overcome the Philistines, that which is opposite of our natural state. I congratulate us all.